Hello. All right. So today is Tuesday, April 21st, and today is going to be the start of our evolution project. And so this was normally a project that we spent like 3 or 4 days in class working on. So you guys generally got somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 4 hours of work time. Um, Given all of the situations that people have, I am not expecting people to be able to do that. And so, if you go to the directions that are up here and you just try to do them exactly as it says, you are going to find yourself doing a ton of work. I'm going to pare it down and simplify it into something that you should be able to do in an hour. Now, towards that, tomorrow, Wednesday, we will not have a class here online on Twitch. I will be here at 11 just like normal, but I'm not going to be presenting anything new. I'm going to be here for questions and answers. So if any of you decide that you've got questions regarding this project, a different lab, or other assignment, I will be here to answer those, but I won't be actually presenting anything. So, you guys are going to have the remainder of today, tomorrow, and however long on your own you need. I am not slapping a due date on this, except I would like to have it by the end of next week. So try to get it to me before May. That'll be our goal. Before May. So, as gorgeous as I am, let me bring this up so that you guys can better understand what I'm talking about. All right, so the normal evolution poster project that you would have been doing, you're going to choose one of the following: a mouse, a small bird, a little lizard, or a frog. Now you're starting in a forest environment and your animal lives in a tree. That's just our basic start. You're going to have then 5 different events that occur. For each event, this is number 5, you're going to have to create an adaptation that your organism could gain that would have made it more fit in this changing environment, more likely to survive, more likely to reproduce, and pass that trait on. These are going to be cumulative. So one is going to build on the next. That means that by the third event, you should have built 3 new traits into your organism. By the end of all 5, what you have should look relatively different from what you started in, because it will have evolved for each of these additional stages. Now, what you guys don't need to do is we're not actually going to do this number 7 here, this poster. Like, this is kind of the example that I gave, and basically it was showing each of the different situations, and then they separately on the back of it described what was changing, and they tried to show it. Like, you can see that this guy gets a little bit fuzzier. Down here in this corner, his eyes are red and the claws have gotten bigger. Here he's gotten this striped tail, and I remember that's an armored tail so that it could swat these little food sources. Um, we're not going to do the poster, though. We're not going to worry about the poster. Which means, let me bring you guys to what's going to be key for you. And that is going to be Evo Project Pre-Plan Doc. This is going to be our whole turn in for this project. This isn't just going to be our pre planning, this is going to be the whole thing. So basically, what you can do on this sheet is you can put down. Morning, Jesse. You can put down whatever event you pick, and I'll go over where those are. But you're going to write down the event that you pick. For new conditions, that means what are we seeing happen now that they need to adjust or change to? So, for instance, if event 1 was a volcanic eruption, the new condition that it's going to have to deal with is going to be that black magma rock that's now covered through the forest or something like that. If it's like floods that just put the forest underwater. Well, then they're going to need a way to deal with this water. Then you're going to write down your new adaptations. What new traits has your animal gotten in order to survive this? What evolved into it over the course of many generations as natural selection was picking the best variations? And then briefly just describe how these changes help it survive. For each one of these entries, I'm only looking for a couple of words. I do not want a paragraph. So, if the new condition or the event was the volcanic eruption, the new condition is the black rock, the new adaptation, dark color, how will it help it survive? Camouflage. You guys get the idea? It's not going to be super specific. And then these boxes that you see, that's where I want the picture of the organism. Now, I recognize most of you are going to do this with like Cami or something. So, for the picture part, on a separate sheet of paper, I want this done by hand. I want you guys to actually draw what the organism looks like at each one of these stages. And then just snap a picture of it. And that will be more than enough for us to be able to utilize it and to show it off. Or at least to show me so that I can, grade it. Now, if you take a look, Event 3 and Event 5, everybody will have the exact same thing. Because the Ice Age and the dinosaur extinction happened to every single thing on this planet and affected every single thing on this planet. So while your organism may end up in a different environment than somebody else's, these things, these steps, were still a problem that everything on Earth had to somehow survive. Okay, so what does all of this look like then? Well, we've got one more part, and that's Evo Project here. And if you click on this, this is all of the possible events that might have happened. So for Event 1, you'll notice I've got about 15 different possibilities for Event 1. You'll pick whichever one you want. Event 2, another 15 or so. You'll pick whichever one you want. Event 4, I've got, I think, like 12 different ones for Event 4 because they're all a little bit more intense. You'll pick whichever one you want. So normally this would just be random chance. For this project, thanks to the way that everything's working now, I'm just going to let you guys pick. Now, for the level of artistic talent that I'm hoping for, let me show you guys a relatively simple example. Alright, if art isn't your thing, that's okay. That's not a problem. So, you would have your starting animal, let's say a mouse. Everyone see my mouse? Glorious. Now, that was normal. Now Event 1 happens, and I'm going to go a little bit crazy with this. And let's say there are tornadoes. Yay. Right? Glorious mouse. Communist mouse. Alright, so, new conditions? It's gonna have to deal with wind. Lots of wind. What adaptation will it have? For me, for what I'm gonna do, I'ma say big claws. And how is that gonna help? Hold on. And now I need to show that. So I draw my mouse again. Right? And then claws. Alright, then we do Event 2. Now for Event 2, let's say I do something like I pick one of the predators. So Now, what's the problem? Well, gonna get killed. What trait do I want my mouse to have to avoid this? Well, I'm gonna say let's go with a shell. Why? Because it will protect. So now when I draw the mouse, right? Now keep in mind, it still has those crazy claws because evolution is building up thing by thing, but now it also has a shell, like an armadillo. You guys get the idea? And step by step, these traits are just going to build. You're just going to stack them on top of one another. Now, to answer a question that I already got that I see 2 or 3 times from people, no, your adaptations do not need to be realistic. I am fine with you guys going fantastical with this and and just doing something crazy. If as long as you are figuring out something that will help it survive that challenge, I'm fine with it. If you want a mouse to get flamethrower breath, okay. If you want one to, or if one of you makes a frog and you want it to grow giant venomous fangs so that it can eat some prey animal, okay. If for whatever reason you need your bird to be able to burrow so it gets some sort of giant corkscrew tail thing, okay. All right, so feel free to go a little crazy with it. Have some fun with it. Um, if you have your own ideas, I'm fine with you using one of the events for your own completely unique idea. Otherwise, I'd like you to pick from the ones that I've got. You can name it whatever you want to. If you want to name it Ratatouille, go right ahead. But this entire thing is just a practice for how evolution works. When your environment changes, it presents a new challenge, and out of the mice who are here, which would be this one, some of them are going to be more fit for that environment. They're going to have some trait that gives them an advantage. Those individuals will reproduce, passing on the trait, and eventually the whole species will now look like this. But environments don't stay static, they keep changing. New challenges constantly happen, which means evolution is constantly going through natural selection to pick the best fit individuals. Do you guys understand the idea? I think it's pretty straightforward, but sometimes people get confused. It does not have to be a mouse. It could be a mouse or a lizard or a bird or a frog. This was the favorite project of the year for most students in class because you got to go a little bit crazy with it, you got to have some fun with it, and I gave you guys a lot of time in order to do it. So unfortunately, we have to adjust it for now, but I think you guys can still have some fun with it. We can still review what the point is and how natural selection and evolution works. And at the end of it, you can hand out something that looks funny and zany and crazy, but still works fundamentally for the mechanics.